I can see why they taught us about Eve and not Lilith. They don't want us channeling that energy. I think it's time we do. Even though Lilith's story predates the Bible, yes, predates the Bible, many people don't even know who Lilith is, or I should say what Lilith is. Lilith appears in Sumerian, Babylonian, and Jewish mysticism. She was first known as a goddess tied to fertility, sexuality, and the wild feminine side. And of course, she was later reimagined as a demon in patriarchal narratives. In the alphabet of Ben Sira, which is the Jewish lore, Lilith is portrayed as Adam's first wife. This is a lot different from the story we heard about Eve, because they said Eve was made from Adam's rib. This insinuates that Adam came first. According to the text, this became a problem with Lilith because Lilith was like, nah, we was made at the same time. I'm about to worship and obey him. What do you think this is? Lilith said, you know what? Y'all got it. I'm leaving Eden. With Lilith leading the Garden of Eden, this marked her as a symbol of defiance, autonomy, and divine power. So of course, when she left Eden, they demonized her, made her a symbol of chaos, a seductress, a child snatcher. All of that is distortion. They made all that up just so they could suppress the divine feminine. Lilith represents equality. She just wanted equal standing with Adam. Remember, everything is allegorical, so I'm going to get to the allegories in a minute, but I want to just break the story down so it'll make sense to y'all. Lilith was challenging the idea that men was superior to women. It also represents sexual autonomy. She controlled her body. She wasn't letting nobody tell her what to do with it. This threatened the patriarchal narrative because according to them, women's body is solely for male use. I think not. It also represents divine knowledge like the serpent in Eden. She sought higher wisdom and was not comfortable. She wasn't content with blind obedience. Just like everything else, her story was rewritten to instill fear. Now that we have the story out the way, let's look at it allegorically. You know that Adam is A-T-O-M, atom. Of course, Adam represents the masculine principle, foundation of structure, logic, and physical manifestation. Atom, A-T-O-M, is the first building block of creation. But remember, it's incomplete without balance, which is where Lilith comes in. Like I said, Lilith is that raw, wild-ass feminine energy. This is the creative and chaotic force of the cosmos. She is the dark matter energy, that unseen force. And this energy holds the universe together. Departure from Adam symbolizes the imbalance. Feminine energy is rejected or suppressed. Now, Eve is more of a structured feminine energy. She represents the nurturing, controlled aspect of the feminine. She was shaped from Adam to complement him. It's like the receptive, manifesting force of creation. It embodies harmony with structure. Again, Adam, spark of creation. Lilith is the void, dark matter energy, or what we like to call primordial energy from which every creation was birthed. You think about Eden is a contained, structured garden, which is why Lilith left. Energy cannot be boxed or constrained. She couldn't stay in the garden because her energy is expansive and free. Serpent is the Kundalini energy. This is the force that connects us to divine wisdom and truth. Lilith and the serpent share this symbolism. Both of them encourage the pursuit of knowledge and spiritual wisdom, as well as self-realization. How did Lilith leave the Garden of Eden? She spoke the name of God. This represents the mastery of energy. To speak the name is to understand the frequency and vibration of the creation. Her leaving wasn't rebellion, it was a reclamation of power. Eve represents the structured feminine energy that wants to fit within the constraints of the masculine energy. You know that energy is everything, and Lilith represents energy in its rawest form. This energy reminds us of our full creative potential, connection to the divine, and our shadow self. This energy teaches us to embrace the parts of us that we fear, untamed, intuitive, and passionate aspects of our being. In the video where I talked about Medusa's real story, I told y'all how she was depicted with serpentine locks. In many ancient cultures, so was Lilith. Snakes, aka the serpent, are a representation of transformation, rebirth, and power. This is why they shed their skin. In my Origins of Humanity video, I explained to y'all the correlation and why we shed skin just like the serpent. Snakes are an extension of divine power. This power was a threat to patriarchal control. So of course, Medusa and Lilith were both demonized. Medusa's locks and Lilith's untamed hair, aka her serpentine locks, they are both connected. They represent energy in its unbound state. It has always been symbolic and tied to our spiritual wisdom, knowledge, and power. Don't forget the strength. When we break the stories down, we can see exactly why they demonized both of these figures. Because Lilith bucked the system and left the Garden of Eden, Medusa was demonized after being violated in Athena's temple. They want everybody to believe they was the demon. As part of the larger cosmic shift, we are definitely witnessing the return of Lilith as well as Medusa's energy. You know, energy moves in cycles, so we in the cycle of rebalancing. Divine feminine can no longer be suppressed. People are breaking free from dogma and reconnecting with ancient wisdom. Get this, the rise of Lilith and Medusa's energy is not to suppress the masculine as they did us. We are here to rebalance because masculine energy thrives when it's rebalanced with feminine energy. We're here to create harmony, not dominance. You can understand the symbolism, the metaphors, and the allegory. You can start to see the message clearly. And you start to see how society fears that raw, untamed, divine feminine energy. There's nothing they can do now. We rising and we will never be suppressed again. So the story of Lilith, if nothing else, teaches us that we cannot step into our full power until we embrace every part of ourselves. Lilith was a true definition of be who you are. Walk in your power. Make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comment. Peace, love, and light, and gratitude for watching.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
Here's some dark feminine goddesses that you should know about and do some research on. The first one is Lilith, who is the goddess of rebellion, freedom, sexuality, passion, pleasure, mystery, as well as strength and liberation. She also helps people tap into the repressed parts of their feminine energy. Next is Hecate, the goddess of magic, witchcraft, the night, the moon, the underworld, necromancy, the crossroads. She also helps guide spirits to the underworld. Next on the list is Mother Goddess Kali, which is actually one of my favorite goddesses to work with because she has a very protective and motherly energy, and she's helped me grow a lot as a person. But anyways, Mother Kali is the goddess of death, rebirth, transformation, destruction, time, as well as fearlessness and empowerment. And if you decide to work with her, please know she is not your friend or your guard dog. She is your mother. So put some respect on Mother Kali's name. Don't think you can use her and treat her however you want to treat her. It's not gonna turn out how you think it is. Now, the last goddess on this list is the Morrigan, who is the goddess of war, sovereignty, fertility, death, fate, and she can shapeshift. But yeah, those are 4 amazing, powerful, dark goddesses that I think you should know about and do some research on. Also, understand that these goddesses were not demons. They were demonized by the systems of power at that time, almost for the same reasons why witches get demonized today. That also explains why a lot of us witches are drawn to them. If you plan on working with any of these goddesses, make sure you do all the research that you can do on them before you just jump and work with them. Make sure you take it slow, and most importantly, make sure you show respect, because it's you who wants to work with them. They don't need you, even though they come to us sometimes in dreams and during meditation. But yeah, definitely do your research on those amazing dark feminine goddesses.
The dark goddess did not fall, she was pushed. And when she landed, she built a throne in the dark. She was not evil, she was unbending. And they could not stand that her spine did not curve for their god. She spoke in thunder and she bled without shame. She moved like worship wrapped in wildfire and loved like it was war. So they did what cowards always do, and they wrote her as dangerous. They called her serpent, witch, devil, because weak men cannot stomach a woman who cannot be controlled. Because her power did not come from obedience, it came from her body, from the temple between her legs that births gods and ends empires. That's what they feared. Not her chaos, her creation. Not her wrath, her remembrance. They feared what she held between her thighs could rewrite the entire world. Because it can. Because it did. So they made her the warning, the red flag, the cursed one. But the truth? She is not the devil, she is the divine feminine unchained. She is Eve before the apology and Lilith before the fall. The snake and the fruits and the fire that followed. There is holy in her hips, there is scripture in her moan. There is resurrection dripping from her fingers and blood that smells like prophecy. They did not exile her for sin, they exiled her for sovereignty. And she's coming back now. Not on her knees, but with bare feet, burning eyes, and the gospel between her legs. So when they call you too much, too loud, too wild, too angry, too sensual, remember this. That is just the sound of the old God shaking in his throne.
So on last night, I posted a video and I talked about working with the divine dark goddesses. And one of the points that I made in that video was about how if you take up a path of celibacy, that it will serve you well. When you work with the divine dark goddesses, they help you to take back your power. And as a woman, one of the fastest ways that you can reclaim your power is by walking a celibate path. Let me also tell you that when you walk a celibate path, it also will impact your spiritual workings. So that is something that they got right in the Bible when they talked about to go without having schmecks, and that if you couldn't, that it was better for you to get married. So we're not going to talk about the getting married part because there's so much that is patriarchal tied to getting married. But I will tell you that if you walk a celibate path, you will find that your spiritual workings are 100 times more powerful because you are retaining your own energy. You can use that energy. It is sacral energy. The energy that we use in that region of our bodies lies in the sacral chakra. And when you use that energy, you can transmute it. Instead of having schmecks, transmute that energy and use it to build your creativity, because it is the same energy force that we use for creation. Another thing is that when you're working with the divine dark goddesses, and if you're walking a celibate path, you will begin to notice changes in your appearance. So on today, while I was on a work business call, one of my colleagues sent me a direct message and said to me, "Wow, you look radiant. You're glowing." Now, mind you, this girl has talked to me before about my skincare, and I've had several people on my account to mention, "Wow, you have really great skin." And I do, because I take very good care of my skin. But I will tell you that I myself have also noticed a change in my physical appearance, in my countenance. And I said to her, because she's one of my astro friends, so we talk about astrology and spiritual related things. So I said to her, "Girl, that is because of all the spiritual workings that I have been doing. It is because of all of the candle magic that I have been doing. It is because of all of the venerating to the divine dark goddesses and to my ancestors that I have been doing. It is directly linked to the work that I have been doing in the spiritual realm. And I can assure you that if you are looking to improve your overall health, improve your aesthetic appearance, working with the divine dark goddesses will absolutely render you those results." And the reason why it will render you those results is because you will begin to internally change. And as such, you will reposture yourself in the world. You will reposture yourself in how you show up. You will reposture yourself in how you speak. You will walk into a room and you will dominate that room without even trying. You will walk into the room and you will demand and command attention without even trying. And it is because of the consonance that is emanating from you, because you are walking with the divine feminine. You are walking with the dark goddesses. And especially also if you are walking and working with and venerating your ancestors, there will start to become a noticeable change in your appearance. So if you're looking to level up and glow up this year, if you're not already walking a witchy path, if you're not venerating your ancestors, if you're not venerating yourself, then you might want to get to it, because it is the surest way to see those guaranteed results. Okay, we'll talk later. Someone recently asked me about the dark goddesses and what the dark goddesses were, who they are, why they're referred to as dark. And so, me and my buddy, Zeus, we're outside taking a walk, and I figured I'll make a video about the dark goddesses while we're out here in the dark. So, firstly, I just want to say that often the feminine energy is referred to as dark simply because it is the opposite of the sun. Women and feminine energy are represented by the moon when you look at alchemy and things that are esoteric. And so the masculine and men are represented by the sun. So that's the first aspect and element of why dark goddesses are considered dark. The second aspect is that some of them are actually dark because of how they express their energy. Think about dark goddesses like Kali Ma. Kali Ma is one of the goddesses that rages, and that is how she expresses her energy. It is the destructive energy of the feminine energy. You also have dark goddesses like Sekhmet. She also rages when she expresses her energy. And so, again, Sekhmet came to earth on behalf of Ra to essentially reset the earth in many ways. And as the story goes, she actually had to be stopped from wiping out all of humanity because she was on a spree and she was taking all them motherfuckers out. There are other dark goddesses such as Hecate and Persephone, both of which, by the way, are Greek goddesses. But they actually work in the dark. They work in the shadows. They work in the below. And as such, rightfully so, they're considered as dark goddesses. Goddesses who work with the dead or any sort of, I guess, necromancer, those are considered as dark goddesses as well. Okay, we're back home. We also have to absolutely add the goddess Lilith to the list of dark goddesses. Lilith is a dark goddess who basically owns her autonomy. She owns her sexuality. She owns who she is as a feminine, as a woman. And so she was demonized and vilified, whichever word, by men and by her lore. They even call her a demon, but that's neither here nor there. Of course, they're going to demonize her. So again, dark goddesses typically are referred to as dark because of how they express their energy. They are goddesses that typically are not afraid to work in the below, in the spaces that are physically dark, and they're goddesses who express their energy with a certain amount of rage or darkness that typically people will look at and say, oh, ooh, that's kind of scary, right? Ooh, cover my eyes, that's scary. But I love that because as women, we are the birthers and we are also the takers of life. We give life and we take life. We grow life and we nurture life, right? We are the beginning and the end. Don't get me started. But that is a little bit about the dark goddesses. If you want to know more, let me know and we'll pick this up another time. All right. Bye.
You got Lilith's children and you got Eve's children. And you got to recognize quickly which curse you have, which curse you was born to. Everybody think it's Lilith, the one, Lilith's children that are born with this curse. But in reality, it's Eve's children. And Eve's children are constantly chasing relationships, desires, wanting, longing, sorrow, and pain, wanting to be chosen, wanting to be picked all the time. And sometimes you just gotta let them live with their curse because they're also passing it to their children because it's a DNA and it keeps on gifting. There's only so much that you could do for these type of people. A lot of these people, their parents mostly die of broken hearts.
Strong women are the bloodline of Lilith. Pygmishas are the bloodline of Eve. I know y'all gonna hurt me. Y'all gonna be fighting. Y'all gonna be fighting it. Again, strong women, feminist, rebel women who challenge the patriarchy come from the bloodline of Lilith. Pygmishas, women who bend to men, are Eve. That's their bloodline. Fight your mother.
In the Hebrew mythology, the return of Lilith. Lilith is supposed to be the chief demon that didn't want to lay down with Adam. Chandler was talking about. But they also tell you in the Lilith book by Barbara Black Couture, and also in Raphael Pate's book, Hebrew Goddess, that Lilith is supposed to take her seat on the right hand of God. Now in the Kabbalistic text, they say it's about what? They say that the whole shit, the whole Kabbalah is based on the return of the Shekinah, the feminine energy. This is the Kabbalistic text. Gershom Scholem, which is the chief authority on Kabbalistic out of Tel Aviv, died in 1982. They say, well, what's all this Kabbalistic and this Kabbalah stuff? What does it all mean? What's going to happen? He said, ultimately, all this shit is going to turn back into chaos. And chaos is the realm of the great mother. Chaos rules. Chaos is supreme. You see? That's so the feminine principle is chaos. And if you keep it up hard enough, long enough, you can stir up the damn chaos. Now, so it is the Shakti power. So he failed to realize, he talked about Osiris, and he talked about